Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Artist Connection. Today, we have some very dope guests with us. We're going to have some conversation, some poetry, and just pour out our words and let you guys just hear our truth. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. AJ, the mic's on you.
Mike's on me. What this quick? All right, all right. Yes, my name is AJ1. I am a poet. I am a filmmaker. I am a designer. There's a lot of things that I have learned to do because it's time to do it. And there's a lot more advancement of technology that makes it more accessible to me to continue to tell stories the way that interests the people. And born and raised in LA, I was here joining Drea maybe 3 months ago, and she said, "Hey, can you come on back?" I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll come back again." And then she asked me next week, "Can you come on back?" And now I'm here. I never left. So it's good to see. We have a small but mighty group today, and I'm going to introduce first Brother David Moore.
What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for having me. So excited to be here. Can you guys hear me all right? Okay,
Yes,
cool.
yes.
So my name's David. I used to live in Southern California for about 6 years. That's how I ran into Andrea over there at the Sims Library. And I quit my job in Orange County about a year ago to really pursue writing and poetry. I just found out I was a writer about 2 years ago during COVID, and it just kind of like really changed my life. And I couldn't go back to selling at my old job anymore. It just didn't hit the same anymore. Yeah, and so this whole last year, I've just kind of been. I had some savings, so I just kind of dove into my art to see what would come, and without any expectations or anything like that. And I'm coming out the other side. Um, Actually doing quite a bit with writing now. I'm building a business as a poet. To do some performances at some organizations and workshops, stuff like that, as a ghostwriter and as a death doula. And so through stories and storytelling, I'm really helping people to really examine their stories in life through each of those hats, you know. And more locally here, I've actually been working with some with the Chowchilla State Prison, and I'll go once a month. I'll be going this weekend to volunteer, and I'll usually like spit a poem, but I may be starting some uh, instructing the creative writing class there soon, so I'm getting really excited about that. um yes, that's it for me right now. Just am I sharing a poem now, or just sharing and then we're going around?
Yes, bless our mic.
Okay. I've been thinking about purpose, about life, and how to be of service. I've spent decades searching, but finally, my passion is burning. These rhymes and lines ignite it. Even if I tried, I couldn't fight it. I've always counted syllables in my head. Syllables in my head. As a child, I read lyrics for hours in bed, yet never once did I consider, hey, maybe I can write my own shit instead. I didn't think I was worthy of being remembered after I was dead. You see, I had eyes that loved to seek, but a voice that couldn't speak because my silence refused to listen to a heart that so desperately tried to glisten. So I spent years in between the smiles, in between the traveling and the miles. I'd go anywhere and be with anyone, so I'd never be alone. But loving everywhere and everyone but me never felt like home. I got so tired of carrying everyone's pain except my own. I drew a line and I traded my quicksand for a stone. I returned to the darkness, infinity's most ancient throne. I asked it who I was. It said, "You're a poet. Now go back home." And now I'm not done yet. Sorry.
Sorry.
And now I'm learning what it means to be a poet. Life plants in me a seed and trusts me to grow it, but I only receive from the divine because I believe I can show it. This world's being ripped apart, but I know we can sew it. We can pick up the pieces and mend them together. We'll fill in the cracks with hope to embrace any weather. I pray rain would pour blessings over all the land. Please flood our fears and ground them into sand so we could all grab our pain just to watch it fall through our finger. To let it all go and not let it linger. We'd be one with the ocean and all that has drowned, getting lost in our truth, yet never needing to be found. Your pain remembers you too. But it's waiting to know it's one with you. You don't have to avoid it or destroy it. The point is to transform it. Turn it into something new. Let it be the most beautiful part of you. If I could help everyone write a poem, I would. I'd open their eyes that they'd see they could, but I never want them to feel like they should. Writing's not for them. That's all good. Poetry is one of infinite ways to express all the truth and desire buried behind your chest. You were born with a voice. How you use it is the only choice. You are capable of wonders you'll never conceive. Inside your expression is the magic to receive. So dive into your hurt. Get in touch with your art. Because if we all feel our truth, well, then together we can heal every heart. Thank you guys.
Beautiful, beautiful piece. I loved
Thank
it.
you
I
guys.
loved it. David, I have a lot of friends of mine that follow you. So when I saw your name on the lineup, I went straight to your page and I saw you were highly recommended with people that I respect, spoken word artists. So I just want to say um, I'm now a new friend. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you so
Rob,
much, bro. I appreciate it.
absolutely. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Drea for the introduction of our next guest.
Thank you so much for that piece, David. It was absolutely beautiful. Up next to Blessed or Mike. Now, first, let me do a proper introduction. I met him um, at Ultra Beauty, and I was looking for, some makeup um, for an event I was having. So patient, so kind, having a conversation, um, very open minded and caring, and really wise beyond his years. And I love having beautiful conversations with really dope, great individuals. Just seeing things through a different lens, things that experience bad or good, take it all with a grain of salt and just have something beautiful come from that. And that's what I get from him every time we have an interaction. Always very polite, humble, caring about the next person. Every time we share a text, how are you doing? How was your day? And that's really um, a lot to say about a person because some people don't care, especially through a text. So that really means a lot when people take the time to say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Or how was your day? Not just going to asking or talking about their needs first. So I appreciate that. And just showing up for me, when I needed, him and, my friends at my birthday event, just so gracious and bringing other beautiful people with him. So I want to introduce Servando. Bless
Hello,
her. Come tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, and then share some of your beautiful words with us and bless her mic.
well, thank you for having me today. My name is Servando. I am a queer artist in LA, but I also love poetry. So that's something that I've always been into since I don't know, since I learned what poetry was and the form of expression that we all tend to give in different forms and different messages. And I think to me, everything in my life is very symbolic to the people that I have around, to my family, to my mentors. I feel like everyone in my life has only brought me to my highest good. And I feel like things I've learned, and it took time, but things that I've gone through and experienced in life that led me to the wrong path really tested my faith and my worth within myself, and just trusting whether or not I wanted to better my life for the better or to allow myself to just crumble to nothing. And it's really difficult. I feel like coming from a Hispanic household, my mom is from Nicaragua, so that's like Central American, and then my dad is from Mexico. I feel like their generation and what they went through, their generation struggled with mental health awareness. And I think for me, growing up and like going through so much traumatic things that like shifted me for the better, as difficult as it was to kind of embrace those moments that affected my childhood to now my young adulthood to now being in like my mid 20s, approaching that point, which I know that we all have a lot more time to go, but I think life has gotten very real for a lot of us. And I think these past years have brought a lot of things to light with how we used to live and what we've experienced, what we've allowed that was not right. And I think now we are learning, and we're in a point in life where we're very aware of all the things that we are around and input and embrace, because energy is real and God is real. Everything that I have endured and gone through since a child to now has really shifted me into a positive way to always remain positive and to always give positiveness to everyone, and some days are very difficult, but that little smile or that little small conversation that you share with one person can lead them to something higher and something greater. And I think also being bullied while also struggling with family, home situations, and a lot of trauma, it really brought me to my lowest, and it taught me that kids can be the meanest, but they learn these things from outside of their school interaction or park interaction. They learn it from other things. So I think what my takeaway with that is I always do my best to be kind and supportive and always just there for anyone, regardless of who they are, regardless of the day, because we don't know what anyone else is going through. And, we, as it is, as human beings, go through a lot on a daily, and everything tends to be a lot, but we're all going through similar things in different forms. And I think for me, being a meeting Lee at my job, Ulta, which is my part-time job, and I freelance on the side when I'm available to do so, as a makeup artist. It really taught me how there is so much more than superficial people that we meet and superficial interactions that don't hold value and honor and respect. A lot of people nowadays like to tumble over each other to reach a high that will never be satisfying and fulfilling, due to greed. And I feel like if the more that we can all learn and be supportive and one with each other and learning how to understand one another, we will find glorious success and support and freedom and the liberation that we all want and what we all understand. So I think, in regards to that, I had wrote something because I was going through a little weird, difficult week last week, and it pushed me to actually write something that I took my time until I was fully ready. And I will disclose that it does have, I guess, like sexual abuse quote, but it's something from my childhood to now, um, that I've grown from. And it's called Honoring My Worth. Where did my worth go? I've seemed to misplace it. Did I leave it by my toy box the day that my mom's apartment had caught into flames on my 7th birthday? Did I leave it in the house that I was being babysat at, in a townhome filled with too many kids to even be allowed to be sharing one room? Their oldest kid, who was a middle schooler at the time, and I, only a third grader, who bullied me for being different and more softer and less boyish, but also gay. Like I even knew what being gay was at that age. The same one who took me upstairs to their room to lock the door behind me to do the things that kids shouldn't. Did I misplace her the first time that I allowed a boy to play with my heart? The pureness of being wanted by someone, the innocence I felt when I asked if I could be his. The same person who got caught kissing me when I was 14 in my dad's home and never spoke to me again after that night when my dad kicked him out. My dad's ignorance and homophobic beliefs did not allow him to see past his views after he had said I was no longer his son. I was gay and had told me to pack a bag so that I could go stay with my mom. Knowing that my dad was quick enough to send me away and do his best to never call or ask if I was okay, he broke his silence after almost the third month of no contact because it was too traumatic. I didn't realize being myself and just trying to figure out who I was chasing and who I was wanting love for, and the guy that I was talking to for a short amount of time really reminded me that with both of their silence, my dad and his, that I was never going to be enough from the beginning. Nothing I was ever going to be, Nothing was ever going to be enough to make them stay. Dealing with men within my gay community who were immune to suppressing who they wanted to be was all I was attracting. My light attracted trials and tribulations in many shapes and forms, making me always question my self worth. After years of chasing love and learning how love can be a game if you allow it, after endless unforgivable nights that tested my self worth and internal strength, seeing myself more broken than before, I reached a point where I could inflict no more. I've risen from my own ashes like a phoenix. The moment I gave myself and all the love and acceptance that I needed to heal, grow, and prosper was when love found me. I love myself, and other days it may feel harder to do so, but I've learned from my memories and tribulations that I've endured. I am more than enough. I am me, and the empty void has been at ease ever since I've experienced that epiphany.
Thank you so much for sharing your truth with us. That was really beautiful,
Great.
very in depth from beginning to end.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Great.
Thank
That was
you.
so
Yeah.
raw. That was so raw. Thank you for sharing that.
I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel
Yeah.
like your skin is like my skin. Like like I really do. Like I'm feeling it, you know? It's the
Yeah.
emotion that goes
It's
through.
important for people to hear these stories because we never know what someone else is going through and how it can impact them and change their life or help them, get through some tough times. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
Going to
Mm.
pass the mic back to AJ1.
Oh, yes.
All right, all right. That was excellent. Thank you for that. That
Healing.
was
Yeah.
yes. Now, Servando,
Mhm.
what is going on? Is unique an artist as well?
Unique is actually a poet as well, but she's never displayed or done anything. She's actually been my best friend since we were 13, so we're hitting on to 11 years now. And the relationship has only grown, and we've changed throughout these so many years of being with each other and then not being with each other due to school. And she's my family at this point. And I took her to the event that was hosted about 2 to 3 weeks ago, which was I'm like
Language.
language.
Yes.
And it was just an amazing time. And Lee and I were even telling her, like, you should say something.
You
Like,
set me up.
yeah, I'm like, kind of, but it was perfect because I know that this is who she is. This is how poetry is something that we've been vulnerable with each other, and just sharing that through our life experiences and the conversations that we've shared uh, since forever have always had meaning and emotion. And I feel like we're an emotional pair of best friends that can express it in different forms, makeup, literature, you name it. And I feel like that event really brought her here to this day.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, I will say this is a unique experience. So what
it
we're gonna
is.
do, what we're
It
gonna do is, are you ready? Because I could go to David while you get your piece, or do you have
uh,
something with it? Are you ready?
yeah, I am ready. I just didn't know it was like I didn't know we were supposed to have it today, but I have like my phone, so I put a lot of my pieces on there.
Yeah,
Um,
no pressure. Let's
yeah,
get it. So the next artist coming up to the stage to
yeah.
Artist Connection is Unique.
I am the Renaissance woman. So that's my name, my poetry name. I actually didn't really find like my poetry identity until 2021, I believe. I started a poetry page. I have a page called I Am the Renaissance Woman. I told Swerve and I told Miss Lee that I've never done like a poetry jam or slam, but I watch YouTube videos. Like I follow a page that posts consistently people that do stand-ups and everything like that, and they share their poetry, and I just love it. And I just love how the poetry community embraces everyone, right? So I just love that. So but I just never like knew of any, and I started kind of getting into it and trying to research where possibly I can make my debut. So he I just thought I was gonna go and just watch some poetry and stuff like that, but he told Miss Lee that Unique writes some poetry, so we're gonna try to get her to go up there, especially and Cold Piece as well. Cold Piece was like, "You ain't up there, Miss Renaissance Woman." I'm like, "Oh God." So yeah, so I think my creative mind goes through like imagery. So on my Instagram page, I like collect, like I love Tumblr, I love Pinterest. I take all those photographs. I love photography, so I take photographs and I kind of turn them into poetry. I don't know, that just kind of gives me a lot of like inspiration. You can look at a photograph. You ever look at a photograph, or you go to a museum? We love going to museums. You ever like go to the museum and you look at a piece of work, and you just get all these concepts or get these type of interpretations. Like I feel like that's where my pen starts to work. That's kind of like where I kind of started to take things a little bit more seriously. But just a little background, like I always loved poetry since I was like a teenager. I've found like my poetry identity a lot more when I was 16, like the beginning start. My first book I ever read was Tupac's book, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. I was going through a very like depressive time in my life, and that book definitely uh, changed my life. And I own the book today, and every time I swear I read that book, it feels like the first time. So I just feel like I hope that my work can be like that as well. But that was something that really was the spark of it. Then I went to college and I started being introduced to Langston Hughes. And Langston Hughes is one of my favorite writers, like of all time. His work is just like it's the same thing that I feel like I write with. It's like imagery. So every time I'm reading his like poems or his short stories, it's like imagery going through my brain. Octavia Butler, she has like the best like science fiction. Like I didn't even know that Black people were the blueprint for science fiction until I started reading like her stuff, and it's just like wow. And then of course you get into the deeper writers like Nashonge. She wrote Four Color Girls. I read that book. I only watched the movie, but I actually watched the book. I read the book in college. And Zora Neale Hurston, Their Eyes Are Watching God. All these different like writers, like I was inspired by, but I just felt like that's going to take some years to develop me in that way, but that's okay. Sometimes good work does take time to develop. So I think that's where it brought me um you know like from 2021, where I said, I think it's time to start growing, and stuff like that. So I'm reading my poetry, which comes to this. I wrote it's called A Poem for Me. So I felt like that was just a great little start for me, just to kind of head on into it. I mean, of course, I have poems from high school, but if I can think about it, this is like more of a metamorphosis year for me. So I feel like these poems represent more of me today than before. So, a poem for me. Can you feel it? The rhythm of your heart is like a playful dance with your spirit. Every beat is a line of poetry, a language you cannot always grasp, but the intensity of a first kiss. If you were to sketch what poetry looks like, it would be you. A muse that paints a plentiful picture. Like art, God took textures of your skin to create a renaissance. The fresh paint he took started you, unique. A line spirits hold on when your soul starts to speak. There is a whisper. The French tongue says, there she is, the Renaissance woman. I am a Renaissance woman. The first woman on earth was centuries ago, but aligned souls recognize that it is you, the Renaissance woman, made in a passage and birth onward. So I ask you, have you seen the Renaissance woman? Then you can read this poem for me. That's mine.
Excellent, excellent.
Gave me confidence, because I feel like I always exhibit confidence, but like what did Erica Badu say? Like she's an artist, she's sensitive about her shit.
Right.
So I'm the same way. So it's like I needed a poem for me, So that made me feel good. So.
You looked confident as hell.
That's what everyone says. I'm like a confident person, but I'm very shy. Like I'm very shy. Me and what Rondo said, we've been friends since we were 13, and we've shared a lot of the same internal struggles. I was bullied as a kid, and and that affects your self-esteem. But it just takes a lot of internal growth to be like, are you tired of that? You keep downing yourself. Change the script. And it takes yourself to change that script. So, but my work, this is more like my therapy. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm really sensitive about the words that come out of me and what I want to put out into the world. So yeah, and what makes it more powerful though. Yeah.
Yes, yes. There's so much for me
Thank
to
you
say.
for asking, for being here. Thank you.
Oh, definitely,
Thank
definitely. I'm very happy that both of you are here,
you.
and David as well. It's extremely important to any chance you get. If you are a writer, you have that gift, that you share it, that you work on it, and you find opportunities and spaces and places here in LA, online and offline. There's plenty. So, as you said, hey, I'm tired of this. I'm not going to get talked about or bullied. You reach that point, that cutoff point where you say,
Right.
now I'm going to go ahead and do this and start to build my strength within. And having the ability to write is one of the most powerful abilities that you can have. You
Right.
are you are a superhero because you're speaking for yourself, but also sharing a perspective that others can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I commend you for just jumping up in here with Servando and just saying,
Oh, thank
"Yo, let's do this. Let's get this." Uh,
Yeah.
very appreciative of that. I'm going to pass the mic over to Drea Lee. Now, Drea, you're not going to try to wiggle yourself out of doing poetry. You just recently published a book, recently had your birthday. It was the talk of the town. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't you dare try to back out and try to be this super host that's not doing any poetry. So, with respect to Brother David, because we're gonna get you right after this, uh, I would like to introduce for Servando, Unique, David, the chef, community builder, uh, wealth builder, a giant in the community that's so modest, so humble, so soft spoken, but she has a voice that amplifies, that many of us connect to. And she is the creator of the Artist Connection. This is Miss Drea Lee.
Thank you for that introduction. I want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight on the Artist Connection, where we are here to bring community together. And speaking of togetherness, myself and AJ is going to do a poem that we wrote together titled Tactile.
No, we not. You
Yes.
about to go to another poem? Nah, I
I'm going to
introduced
still do
you.
my other poem. I'll do the other one later.
I don't have it. I don't have. So I'm gonna tell you
I'm
straight
about to
up.
send it to you.
Nah, I don't have. I don't have a way to receive it. Nah, that's it.
Yes, you do.
All I got is just the artist connection. So
You
get
have
open
Tactile.
your book up and do something from your book, or
I'm going to do the new poem that I wrote, but it's very inappropriate, guys.
for who? Who is it inappropriate for? Is it children over here? I don't see no children. I see nothing but grown folks in there. That right? Yeah. So go ahead and handle that.
Okay, let me see. Put me on the spot. It's titled Soul Snatcher. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay.
know that.
He separates her legs and uses his tongue to drain all the chaos from her mind. He uses his hands to quiet her moans, inserts his fingers deep in her walls until she speaks his name. He snatches her by her waist, turns her body over, kiss her lips, inserts his manhood inside of her, deep, long thrust, penetrates her walls, tells her to call his name. She can't speak. All she can do is moan. Her mind's eyes struggle to comprehend a power that transcends our earthly being, her mind levitating, positions in ways she can't fathom. Yet, in this dance of sexual escapades, a cosmic force, a pleasure unknown, a soul snatcher's gift, her body explodes. She devours him whole, holds onto his manhood, short strokes, twists, turns, keeps it wet, deep throat, choke, release. Her head dangles in an up, right down position. His body pulsates with excitement. He begs for more, and she gives, and she gives, and she gives. and she gives. The pleasuring continues until the night ends. Their bodies both released all the chaos that consumes their worlds. And in this passionate dance of pleasure, their souls connect as one, and in return to cinder when all is done. And that's my piece.
Ooh, child.
Um,
Wow.
David, I saw you wipe the sweat off your forehead underneath your cap. Y'all, come
I
on,
was about to turn off my camera. What are you talking about?
man, man. I was up here just like,
I was like,
Man, I will say I've heard of a lot of like, similar erotic poetry from people, but never have I heard one and been like, I want to try to write my own now. You know what I mean? Like that was just
yeah.
so good. That was so
so
beautiful.
good, yeah.
Thank you.
Intense.
I love vivid, like I said, I like vivid poetry. So of course I was playing it in my mind.
Right, right.
I was playing it in my mind. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I try to write some
nice.
erotica sometimes.
No,
It was
Just play
nice.
around with, the wordplay and different things. It's pretty fun.
Mm.
No, that was very well done.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
mm,
All right. So, AJ, are you going to bless our mic? Now, let me tell you about AJ. If you go to his page, he is a master of words and putting his artistry together. He's taught me a lot with the AI. It's very fun. And once I'm really into something and you teach me, I'm just on it. So I try to share a lot of the different videos that I have been creating lately to show him to be like, okay, like he the teacher, right? Do you approve? Do I get an A? And it's been like very refreshing to have another artist that you can share different your gift and their gifts and just bounce ideas off of each other. He's also like very into the community. He's a great father, friend, entrepreneur. Everything he do, he just puts excellence on it. And this poem that he's gonna do is going you're gonna see. All right, AJ, the mic's on you.
thank you for that wonderful introduction. But you're not just gonna dictate what I'm gonna do. You already know how this whole thing goes with me. I told David that we were gonna respectfully, you know, come back to him. So I want to stay
We
within the
are
framework.
respectfully come
Nah,
Nah,
back.
yeah. If we got to get AJ on the mic, we
Yeah,
got to
see,
go
we
one.
got to
We got
get
to go.
AJ on the
We got to
mic.
go one full rotation before anyone gets seconds.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, exactly.
no, no. Uh, coming next to the mic, let me go ahead and respectfully mute my mic. This is going to be for a second time. Our brother David.
Okay.
Right on, right on. I won't fight the host. I think I'm gonna share a newish one that I haven't shared before with anyone, but it kind of came up, and I was like, "Oh, this one sounds like it's kind of relevant for me right now." All right, you can hear me all right? Okay. I'm afraid of the moment. I'm not brave without my pen. I've become accustomed to hold it, to feel the ink as it meets its home, surrounded by all it will ever know. I wonder if my ink thinks of me before I write. Does it ever change my mind? Does it ever change its own mind? Can it put the past in its behind? I don't know. But it already robbed me from the moment again. So I stopped to take a breath. And another, but this time deeper. And another, but this time slower. And another, but this time smaller. And another, but this time longer. Is an escape into the breath still an escape? Or is it more like coming home? I am the breather. I am not the flesh. I am not the blood. I am the breath. I am one at a time. I am a process. I am not of my mind. I am progress. I used to hide, but now I stand. I used to try, but now I am. And yet I'm still afraid of the moment. I'm afraid of the challenge. I've come so far and I want to enjoy it. I've tried so hard. I won't destroy it, but I probably won't build it because I'm afraid of the moment. Right now is up to me, and I don't want that responsibility. I want to live in my dreams. I'm afraid of waking up, but without me, my dreams can't give a fuck. I'm trying to be me without getting stuck. I'm trying to be in the moment, but it's tough. Thank you guys.
Wow.
Yes.
I wonder if my ink thinks of me. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think if it thinks of me before I write.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Dope
That's
line.
yeah, that's a dope line. 100%. 100%. I love that. Thank you, David.
Thank you guys.
All right. All right. So you see, this is like I said, small but mighty, and this gives us time to explore, share certain things, do what we might not have done if we had 8 or 9 artists in here, because we're more time constrained, making sure that we at least double around twice.
Yeah.
Whereas this time it's a campfire right now. We don't have the fire here, but it's more intimate, more quaint, and um, we can probably unpack a lot more that way.
Right.
So I'm going to pass the mic to Miss Drea Lee.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a little dialogue here. So usually I ask, different questions. It's interesting to me how I watched this. I don't know if I want to kind of a documentary on Netflix about um, ladies in hip hop called Ladies First. And every time I hear artists or a writer or a rapper talk about how they first started loving the art that they do now, they always go back to poetry. And poetry was their first love. And then they explain why they enjoy poetry. And they still, recite it sometimes or still have like composition books with their poetry in it. But poetry really doesn't take them that far, like, the music and things like that. And I think that needs to change. So, my question to you guys are, what has poetry done for you in your life? And how do you think it could change to benefit the community like it has rap or R&B and hip hop? And we're going to start with David.
Um, can you repeat the last part of the question one more time?
How do you think moving forward that we can change how poetry is in the community and make it more respectable, like the art form of music, hip hop, and rap and R&B?
Oh man, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I might have an unpopular opinion, but I think I'm not super artistic, nor have I been in the arts a very long time. But what I have noticed about the poetry community is that it tends to be an insulated one. There's typically not a lot of non-poets there besides like friends of performers going to support. And and with most other art events, there are people from all over. It's not just the people who practice the art, whether it's a concert or even an art show, stuff like that. And so what's coming together for me right now, I think poets probably need to value the community a little bit more to raise that value up. Everyone's very quick to be um very, very inclusive and very helpful, and like, just pay a little bit here and there. But I think it starts with poets valuing that more. If poets aren't going to value it, no one else will. And so, but that's where I'm at right now in my young artist career. Ask me again in a year.
No, I
Yeah.
agree 100%. We have to start with us and taking it serious. And a lot of times we see all these poetry events going on, and it's like we're taken away from the poetry community because we're trying to split our time to make it to this event here on the same day in the same time, instead of having that event calendar where we know that we can go support this person on this day and just talk to people about changing, dates and things like that. We don't communicate enough, and it's, for me, it's a little too cliquish in a lot of
Oh yeah.
different areas.
Yeah.
Yes,
And instead of having a bunch of separate ones, why not try to everyone come together and have a big one, and then people from the
exactly.
community will want to come. Instead of having the best people from each of the cliques, it's like let's get everyone from the whole town, from all of LA, all of Orange County.
Yes, that would be something.
Right?
Yes. Same question, unique.
Um. Well, so the question was how can we how can we make poetry more impactful like it is in like hip hop and all that?
Yeah, so it's a two-part question.
Uh-huh.
So that was part of the question. The other question is
Mhm.
like the poetry. Um, you have other talents. We all do. We probably haven't tapped into them. But what stood out to you in poetry, and how would you make that successful for you as well?
I think well, I can only speak for me, but what I've studied through like poetry is it's a journey, it's a life journey. It does, I think, take does take wisdom, I feel, through your journey with poetry. I felt like in my journey of poetry was more like self-discovery. So I feel like that's where the impact comes in. Hip hop and just our music in general. There is a self impact. That's whether you're a writer. Of course, we have to talk about the artist and then the musician. Those are two different titles, because there's musicians that make music. They make the instruments, the whole sounds of music, and you have the artist. Most of the time the artist is the one that's writing the music, that's creating the whole dynamic, the picture of their artistry, and so it's almost like it's almost like poetry. I mean, it is poetry. I remember in high school I had a debate with my teacher about how he thought hip hop wasn't poetry. I strongly disagreed with him. You know, he was looking at it from a literature standpoint, right? So then at that age, like I said, I was so like consumed by Tupac's book. So he was like the biggest example for me of how like this is poetry. Whether Shakespeare knew how to rap or not, these people, these artists, they definitely had the same pen that these rappers or R&B artists, whoever that writes music, have as well. So in regards to like poetry being, I guess, I don't know, I don't really like the word being as like to compare it like as powerful or as impactful as hip hop is to a lot of people. But I think that it's okay to stay in our own lane. Whoever, I mean, of course, it always takes a big name to make things, come alive, right? So, a lot of times if we know that an artist that we love, really their first love was poetry, like Kanye West. Kanye West has been on what's that called? It's the Live. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's called the Live. I think Poetry Jam. I don't know what it was called back in the day. It was in the 2000s. Like, you guys can help me
Deaf
out.
Poetry Jam.
Deaf
Yeah,
Poetry
the
Jam.
Poetry Jam, right? So everybody came on there. So it's like, that's why I pretty much like slammed my teacher with all these examples of how all these artists came forward and showed that they were poets first, and Kanye West did it, DMX did it. Of course, we know Erica Badu did it. Jill Scott, they all are poets, first. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have our own lane. Music has its own lane. It's impactful, and our community is impactful. So I just feel like a lot of times we're just missing. I think we continue to miss the mark if we're trying to get to that higher up, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
Poetry's on for me, so I think whoever is not there yet, they just sleep on it. But of course, this generation, like my generation, or and the next one's coming up, they're using a lot of the online tools to make it more awareness of poetry than ever before. I think that's a blessing. Now we can now have these type of conversations on live platforms. We may have not been able to do it 20 years ago. Shoot, maybe not even 10, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? So I think that as technology, grows, it could be up there, for sure.
For sure. Thank you so much. Sir, the same question.
I guess to try to understand it a lot better, I feel like as artists, we can connect others. I feel like when we all I feel like life experiences are what we tend to write about as artists, as poets, and I feel like we all have all gone through certain similar things, and we sometimes are either too afraid to admit it to ourselves that we are experiencing something like that, or just not aware. And I think now we're in a point in life where, like I was saying earlier, awareness is brought to the table. And I think a lot of things are brought to the light of our true nature, how people are, how people treat each other, how the greed and fame, money, success, and a lot of things that we all want to achieve. We all want to be financially abundant and living that luxurious life. But realistically, it didn't take one day to get there. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of things that tested their faith, their trials, their things that would either lead them to where they wanted to be or back down from what they were afraid of being. And I think when we all can share something relatable, it brings, I don't know, light to familiar situations that we never knew that we were going through until words were spoken. And I think for me, poetry really, I think for me, I was reading it. I was reading like Milk and Honey, The Sun, and so I think it's Rupi Kaur.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
So that was one of the artists that I was really into, just because it was talking about like mother, like family relationships, and then personal love relationships.
That's right.
And I think to me that was the earliest thing that was, I
Stepping
guess,
stone.
introduced to me, that
Yeah.
really like I was really mainly focused on reading it and just hearing other people's messages and stories and what they had gone through and their experiences with love. Love for me was the thing that I loved to read about, and I think understanding that we all have faced the storms, and I think we all have gone through that form of loss, our first love, our first big moment that impacted us for the better. And I think trying to see that it was for the best versus why it couldn't work out or whatever it may be. I think reading from a lot of artists, and then eventually when I started going through my form of emotions and just mentally, I guess, distraught to the point where I couldn't keep it in, I started writing. And so I think for me, my stories, my messages are all scattered in different journals that I started that I have never once completed because I like to start things, but I tend to have a bad habit of picking them up, just because I feel like for me, I have like at least three different journals that I've started since I was like 13 till now that have poems, that have stories, that have moments that were traumatic for me and that I have learned to just keep inside of a book versus my mind because it was taking too much space. And I think also just being aware of myself and my mental health and how I've always struggled with that, and I struggled with that. I still struggle with it. I have seasonal depression, but I think going to therapy for 2 years and really just learning who I was and learning what I needed to better on mentally for myself and just to keep pushing and understanding that we're all going through this. Yeah, it might not be the same, but in different forms it's kind of similar, and it varies depending on the person. But I think writing has never discriminated, and I think for me with my art, which is also being a makeup artist, for me makeup doesn't discriminate, and I think it never discriminated me when I first explored into it, and I think that was the reason to why I've learned to embrace that part of me. And I think coming from like a machismo Hispanic lifestyle home, that was really hard to embrace within myself. And I think learning that instead of me fighting it and trying to ward it off, I've learned to take it in. And I think now I'm creating things that are a lot bigger, and I'm doing my best as like an artist, as like a poet, whenever I can, to just give it my all, regardless of what it is. And I think when we give it 100% our all, it makes an impact.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for that.
It's
I can relate to a lot of things that all of you guys said as well. Just keeping the journals, and it's healing. Poetry for me is healing.
yes.
So I think that's something good that we all, could relate to. AJ, do you have any remarks you want to make or answer the question?
What I think, and in order to expand uh, poetry, you have to expand what I think a poet represents, which is the P could be for perspective, O could be your opinion, E could be the ego, and T is the tongue. So if you learn and you study and you research to expand your tongue, uh, you believe it or not, expand your ego, become fearless, become a risk taker, uh, do things you haven't done before with your pen, expand and broaden your opinion to where it's more universal, and you expand your perspective where you can get in and out in understanding, even if you don't experience it, um, you can relate and understand and agree uh, without being argumentative or highly opinionated, or just locked in your shit. So to answer the question is what I'm actually doing, which is doing a poem per day for 366 days, because I want to turn this into a literal illusion. The first 122 were dedications, honor. It was about love and lust. This next 122 that I'm in is performing live, being on stage, being uh, on the train, headed to North Hollywood, or just going to 7-Eleven with my sons, and I'm turning on the camera, spitting some shit, and putting a number on it. And then the next 122 will be that I'm painting the whole city with the poetry. So you'll see it in the sky with a skyrider. You'll see it at the bottom of a swimming pool. You'll see it on a mural. And I have a whole collaborative team of artists that are ready for 245 to 366 to start putting this shit on a grand scale. You know, we talk about Basquiat and Banksy and Jackson Pollock and Ernie Barnes, and you know, many of them are gone. So those legacies still exist, but there needs to be more legacies to be amplified. So as Drea was saying, a lot of these cats out here are so cliquish because they feel that their small, little, tiny community is all that it needs to be. And poetry becomes this crab in a barrel deal where I'm the be all end all. Fuck with me solely. Everybody else ain't shit. You know, and you see so many of it, you know, and we're all ants in the grand scheme. You know what I mean? We're all ants in here. So we're fighting, clawing, and scratching uh, for something that has spawned the greatest musical art form in the world, which is hip hop, which is rap music. Everything that sells commerce, everything that sells an opinion, an idea, got a rhyme to the shit. Go to Broadway, they rhyming. You know, we created that. You know, the brothers here, you know, these are not real brothers. Unique said, "Is this Black Wall Street?" And that's everything to me. I just wanted to hug you. You know, when you said that, no, it's not Black Wall Street, but the spirit of Black Wall Street is within us. It's within me. It drives the message to say I could write a poem and build Wall Street off of the success of my ethic in continuing to honor this art form, you know, and create a Wall Street painting this motherfucking town, you know, with the poetry and all different art forms, all different styles, you know, and it's got to be done. And I wasn't waiting for nobody else to do the shit because I felt I was qualified best to do it. So I thank Drea all day long because she kept inviting me here, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Still being highly egotistical, egocentric. I don't want to be all up in the mix and sitting up on the camera for no couple hours. And then the humility kicked in to say, how are you going to introduce yourself? How are you going to see other perspectives, other opinions, other egos, other tongues, right? So this is very important. And what we're doing every single Thursday and what the whole city is doing every day, this is a very vibrant community. And somebody has got to be there to touch them all and say, like David, let's all get together. Let's do a big one. We ain't got to come over to Inland Empire and go to Torrance, then go to Compton, then go to West LA. You know, it's too many cities. You know what I mean? It's too many cities trapped in each county. You know what I mean? So we in LA. We in LA. So we have, as my mother would say, a fiduciary responsibility to expand our perspective, our opinion, our ego, and our tongue. You know, and once you do that, you're gonna feel it. And once the people start to recognize it, you'll be amplified and broadened. That's how we change it. That's how we uplift it. That's how we get it up there.
Thank you so much. I was also, as I was watching this documentary, one of a prominent hip hop artists said, back in our days, it was about talent, but today it's about popularity. And that's true. You could be trash, but just because a lot of people know you, you got the notoriety and they follow you, then you have the bigger following. You make the most money. You can have all the talent in the world, but nobody knows you or respects you or comes out to support you. and then you're a nobody. So it's like everything is reversed. We'd rather have fake than real, and it's sad.
Say
So it's
that.
like we have to change that, right? It's important for us to teach the generations that follow us how it should be. Respect is very important. It's always been important to me in my generation, but we lose that. So I worked with adolescents for over 20 years, and their thing now is, oh, you have to respect me first. And I'm, who do you think you are? You was just born yesterday. So it's just like, but for me, I will always start off with introducing myself, right? I was never too big to not be humble. And that's the problem that we have today. We can't swallow our pride. We can't see from their point of view because we don't know what they went through yesterday. They could
Mhm.
have been sleeping outside on the street. They have a chip on their shoulder and they feel like, oh, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me. So get to know them. And then you channel into their talents and make them feel like they are somebody because they don't have that at home, right? And so many of these children were poets, and they talked about things that harmed them or hurt them in a poetic form. And I'm like, you could go far with this talent, but they wouldn't know if I didn't take the time to be humble, get to know them, and be concerned about their well-being, right? So I think that's how we change. We change when we show that we do care, and we can, like AJ said, put our ego to the side because mostly it's about ego all the time. It's the ego.
Right.
But thank you guys for participating in my discussion. Now we're going to get back to the poetry.
Also, I want to say too, if I can say, Miss Lee. So I think it's a lot of times like people these days are just like also gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much so, and it's very hard to find someone just to be like, hey, you're an artist. Well, I'm an artist. Okay, like have really just like authentic and genuine connections,
Yes.
and it's just so crazy, and I feel like as artists and just people, wholesome people, the greatest works that we can produce or just or greatest life experiences that we can have is through having involvement, having people involved in the things that bring us a lot of joy and perspective, and these days, when you meet someone, say if they're of high status, like they really just want to gatekeep everything that either how they started or just what they're doing now or whatever, which is
Yeah.
okay at times. I understand. There is a lot of vampires.
It's never okay.
A
You
lot of
need.
I think
Yeah.
vampires. I just think there's a lot. And I say okay because there's a lot of vampires. You have to be eyes open as well. There's very much people that want to not. They don't. Yeah. They're not inspired by you, but they may want to be. They may aspire to be you. And it's always the case. It's always like okay to have people that you might see as someone that's like I don't know, I guess quote unquote, if people believe in role models. Sometimes I don't really believe in that word, but if someone that you can at least if personally speak to and have conversations like that, that is a positive thing. But this generation or this day and age, like you said, like popularity is the thing, and it gets to them their heads, and vanity is all. That's what it's all about these days is
Yeah.
vanity. So.
So what if Serve didn't invite you to the event and you would
Mhm,
have never got on stage and you wouldn't be here today? So it's
mhm,
about that, right? And
mhm,
this is what the artist connection is all about, connecting people of
mhm.
all different genres and artists and things like that. So I feel like a lot of people, when you have a good connection with them, you should make something may not be for me. I might get information that I'm supposed to share with somebody else, and that's what I do all the time.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
and I
Right.
think that's how it should be, and then we'll be a much greater people.
And some spaces are not always, sometimes we want to make a space ours. sometimes it's you have to you have to be willing to embrace the space, and you know um it's about experience. I like just recently I was invited to a space where I was around very I guess industry like people, and I can only count on one finger one that I had a really genuine conversation with, and that wasn't all about their ego and wasn't all about just like talking about themselves and everything like that. And it was just simply on just what we were talking about, and what are our interests and stuff like that. And like when you create those genuine connections, that's where it starts. A lot of times, like I said, when I talk about the vampires, a lot of people just want to know how to get it, and then they kind of like we were very much in a space of our life where people find others or what they do to be disposable. And it's sad. I don't view people or the things that they're attached to as disposable. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we're living in a generation now that all we care about is what can be benefited from the person that they know, and how they can be attached to the
Yeah,
people
because
or the things that they know. You know?
if money moves everything you do, then you're not a good person. That's
Right,
how I feel.
exactly.
It
Right,
Money cannot always be the motivating factor
right,
in your life. That means that you will do anybody wrong and cut anybody to get what you want for that dollar. And
exactly.
that's what people need to see and recognize.
Right,
Because I don't do everything for money because I know it's gonna come,
right,
right? I always know I'm gonna win. And when you have that attitude, you're not cutting people off or stopping them from their blessing either. So just making sure you do things differently and try to support people and just be there and making that connection, like you said, right?
And I
Sir,
think
you got another poem for us?
I do have one, and it's actually the last one that I wrote in my um, I guess diary. But I did it about 3 months ago when I was having like I guess I was having like an episode. I was having like a really terrible week. I wasn't working at the time because I was going through a transition of like had just recently quit my job before my current job, which was Sweet Green. I was working at a restaurant, and they weren't disclosing that people were being sick and people were not being respectful. And I ended up getting sick, and I'm like super high risk. And I got COVID. So then I had to put my 2 weeks in. I was just super depressed because I was also like, it was like my last month of my beauty program that I was in. And everything is like coming out of my pocket, and it wasn't with financial aid. So it was just super stressful to know that um, my makeup career felt like it was just like crumbling because I felt like I lost my job. But I also needed to somehow support myself. I needed to get to school. I needed to make up for the time that was lost. And I think that what that first day when it was just hitting me and I was like getting really sad. I've always had like reoccurring sadness, and I've just learned to kind of maneuver through it. But I guess this one is I don't. When I write, I typically just write whatever I'm feeling in that moment, or that random memory, or random thoughts that I guess just pop up into my head, so that I can kind of translate them into words. So this is just a random one, but um, you're my first love. You knew little of me as I did with you. No one understood us, but it never mattered, right? When did we start caring? When did our love turn cold? When did we stop listening to each other? I ran and ran further and further from you. I had so much sadness within myself that you never knew of it. I was good, too good at hiding, living in fear of knowing how I truly felt about myself. At times, I remember how I promised a forever and how I wanted things to change and chased as much as we could held on until we couldn't. I never checking in, only when we needed to. Uh, I felt myself letting go. I remind myself so much of how it reminds me of a love that I once shared that is non existent with my father. He loved me without inspecting how I was sad and how I was hurting. I could never forget, even if I didn't want to be near. The first time I ever shared anything together was the first time I ever felt true bliss and safety. I trusted blindly, and now all there is broken memories, sadness, and knowing that with unhealed trauma and long-shotted dreams, we were destined for nothing. Then, really thinking about it, if love surrenders, was it just war?
Oh, it's so relatable.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
that piece.
relatable.
AJ, the mic's on you.
All right. The next artist coming up is me. um, as I said, I'm writing a poem a day. I'm at, I think, 132 right now. So I'm in that second frame. Uh, this piece is written for uh, Esperanza Spalding. She's a jazz artist, came out of Portland, and I had a few encounters with her when she was younger, and she went on with all her mentors and people who took her under her wing. Uh, Now she's a five-time Grammy Award winner, one of the coldest, flyest, uh, youngest to build her legacy. And I'm going to be talking to her on Saturday. And this is a preview for all of you because I normally write on the day of the inspiration, but I got a call from my bro, and he gave me a heads up. So I'm gonna test it for y'all, and you let me know what you think of it. It's not titled. You rubbing your hands together, unique. All right. Eyes arrive in hell and the heaven of a rose. Soul derived, initiated in a tribe of political black science, it goes. Allure aligned with alliance like Northwest S. Piranha, voracious as piranha, prana, life force breathing love in your honor, your highness. If I was your girlfriend, to the artist was the flyest. A disclaimer to fame, S elevated by Brian, Wayne, Nascimento, Lovano, Matheny, and Sweet Baby James. Herbie, in the College of Music beyond Berkeley. In the hope of our expectation, I saw your greatness in making. Y'all gave me 2 straight hours on my cable station. I said, damn, double bass triply bigger than her. And she's strumming it like it ain't nothing. Surveyed the scene, spalled and balling, dropping trios like a 3-point stripe had never seen. Setting sails while blazing trails, strings, oboe, Miss Janice and clarinet. Dare you say prodigy or genius, ESP's telekinetic aesthetic still ain't trying to hear it yet. Her instrument is an amulet of protection, an object of magnetic intercept, sonic healing from a symphonic feeling. I said, sonic healing from a symphonic feeling. Spirit is cleansing where magic is clearing its way to be heard, in play to be served. Black gold, cold in mind with refreshed memory aside to observe. Thera was at the memory talking about those with small intelligence and how you cut through the fakes and phonies to bloom and bud, endowing your profound to grow love inwardly. An exposure of cosmic oral symphony. Emily's de-evolution and a fusion of chamber and music radio movements. Apothecary is a songwriter sanctuary. In its depth, we dive and delve in search of ourselves in 12 little spells. I know you know. We were at Musicians Union, AMP, blessed to see S. At rehearsal, I'm flying Borgie and Bess, headlining the Portland Jazz Fest in tribute to Miles and Gill. You backstage reading the magazine, cucumber cool with all that style instilled. And in our gift, unsealed, we start to see the me in each body life revealed. This formula is real. Greatness decorated on fire for ambitious musicians you've inspired. So beautiful. Occupied at work in an unfinished job you assume so dutiful. Thank the Most High and Yo Ma. Esperanza Spalding answered her calling in notes and sounds and devotion to music and mystical law. I'm forever in awe.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that piece. She's gonna love it.
she is.
She's
Think you
gonna.
like you think you like it?
And
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
very much.
Did you say you just wrote that?
Right. Just wrote it right before I came in.
Wow.
Oh, great.
Good. Amazing.
Those
I told you.
162 days are working.
Right.
Slow rider. I gotta get to AJ speak. I'm a slow rider.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So I believe the mic's on Unique. That's her mic.
100%.
uh, I guess I gotta go here tonight. My best friend, he kind of like he made me want to read this poem. So I am like a really romantic person. I love romance, and one of my favorite movies is Love Jones. My last name is Jones. My parents messed up. They couldn't name me Love Jones. Like what? They couldn't name me Love Jones, but I love that movie so much. And this poem was inspired by that film, but also it was mixed in with a personal experience of a relationship that I had that was very much tied to music. And, we were very passionate about music. That's how we kind of bonded and stuff. And it's a mix of, Love Jones, the music, and then also, the breakup I had with that individual. So it's called R&B and soul. Your heartbeat was my tune. Your voice was my melody. Your fingers were my instruments. Every string you pulled me closer and closer to the beat of your drum. My music has come. This is how you make me sprung. Your music never ends. Your love is on replay, 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 replay. Don't keep your music away. Your lyrics are my symphony. Sing to me. Your ad-libs make me swing my thighs and hips. You never miss. I like that shit. You were my music. When I thought the song wouldn't end, the music is played out. The music sheets disappeared. Your new notes now are just fantasies. A creation that sparked my imagination. You are my music. I never thought I would be hearing old songs. I never thought I would be singing the last song. Waiting will be therapeutic because you were my music, my rhythm, and my blues. If you can't understand my emotion and what I'm saying, in my mind, your heartbeat is still in tune with mine playing. Why? Because you were my music.
I love a good love poem. Yes.
Thank you.
So much for that. AJ, the mic's on you.
All right, all right. Running it back to the man that's chewing on the mic. I'm gonna give it back up to brother David. Let's go, David. What you eating on? First, before you spit, make sure you let us know what's the taste of the night. You're on mute.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I was gonna taste of the night. That was just some Doritos. But earlier, before this call, I had a watermelon. I ate one watermelon today, just a huge one. It was so
Man,
good.
man. I got two
I love
25-pound
watermelon.
seeded watermelons yielded 3 gallons of watermelon juice. Still drinking on it.
Yeah, it was good. Sorry about that. I didn't know I'd be going again. Um,
Hell yeah, you going again.
I
This
think
is our party right here.
I think I let me share a love piece. I haven't shared a love piece in a while. Unique was setting the stage there. Let me just find that real quick. Can we circle back to me, guys?
Oh, absolutely,
Sorry
absolutely.
about that. I'm sorry about
We're
that.
gonna circle right back to you. Since the theme is love, pull out your love poetry, Miss Drea. And she looking for it too. She got that look like, let me look for it. Let me be on point. Cause he gonna call me in a minute. Guess what? The minute has come. I'm calling you right now.
I don't have
Mm-mm.
nothing ready.
You got all that stuff ready. You got a whole book that's ready. If not, then Servando is gonna read. So now he's gonna jump out. No, no, you get back in here. Yeah, come
I
on.
was pressing in and I pressed stop the camera. I was trying to say that I saw, I think in Lee's book, I saw like when I came over to his house, I saw a chapter that he was on. I think it was Chocolate Lips that got my attention.
Oh, so coming to the mic with chocolate lips
Yeah.
is, is the host of the show, also a published author. Chocolate lips. You got your book right there, right?
I got chocolate lips ready.
See,
Okay.
see, there we
I want to
go.
hear it.
Boom,
Wait,
ladies and gentlemen, Dre Lee.
let me see. All right, here we go. Chocolate lips. This is from my book, Connections Between Us. I long to taste your chocolate lips. I watch them closely every time we're together. I close my eyes. Imagine you inside, my lips touching yours. What a great feeling. Chills running up and down my spine when our lips collide. I enjoy your chocolate flavored lips. And that's my piece.
Mm.
It was just a short one.
I didn't hear it. Can you run that back? My headphones are tripping. My headphones are tripping all the way out. David, David knows we hear that again. Come on
That
now.
flavor of the night.
That's
The
right. That's
flavor.
right. Yeah, yeah. Bump them Doritos. It's chocolate lips. Come on,
I have
let's get it.
Come on.
honey kiss lips.
Oh, you
Oh
just got a
wow.
whole lip suite of poetry.
Yes.
Honey kiss lips. You got caramel lips, butterscotch
Probably.
lips.
You
Okay.
got
Oh,
caramel hips, and then
His gentleness makes her weak, and his dominance makes her wet. He cupped her face in the palm of his hands, pulls her close, wraps his lips around hers. His tongue penetrates her throat. Her body begins to lose laxity. She falls into a soft silk sheets. He entered her slowly. She reacted with indignation when he stopped in mid stroke. What a tease. He knows this makes her quiver with excitement of what's next to come. He covers her honey kisses and lands in her favorite place, igniting with fire. His mouth is magical. Her toes curl. He finds ultimate pleasure in satisfying her. His honey kissed lips drives her wild. And that's my piece.
Honestly, you got me like playing in the background, Isley Brothers between the sheets. Like that's all that was like playing in the background for me. Listening to your
Right, right.
song.
My question is, do
You're
you,
gonna have to record that, like making that poem to that beat, because it's like perfect.
I'm going to do that.
Yes.
you have any other lips poems you want to read for us?
I think that was the last lip pull.
Turned it into a lip session.
No.
Oh, David ain't
Y'all weren't
tripping.
playing today.
Right, right. We still ain't playing. And the next on the mic, thank you very much, Dre, is
You're
Brother David.
welcome.
All right.
Right on point.
Back to me, right?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
it is.
It's a love poem. It's not an erotica poem, but it'll do. All right, here we go. I haven't shared this one with anyone yet either. I want to love the shit out of you. I want to make you laugh until we fart. I want a matching style. I want a matching smile that will never be torn apart. Except for when we cry or when we bleed and become one flesh with conflicting needs. Love won't ever be perfect, but it can be perfect to me. I want to be perfect for you. I want to hug you in the moments I might hate you. I want to see you in the moments that will shake you. I want to fall into your arms and I want you to catch me. Put your hands on my face until your eyes caress me. I want to love the shit out of you. I want to kiss your scars and make you warm. I want to dive inside you and feel your warmth. I want to get lost in pleasing you and making you feel adorned. I want to walk in front of you to open every door, but I know you don't need me to open them. You are who you are and will grow how you grow, but I want to grow together, blow as the wind blows. I want to live with your flow. I want to be the beat to your rhyme. I want to take you to a mountain and shout, she's mine. I want to love the shit out of you. I want to be there for each other and help us stand tall. I want to squeeze your hand as I make your water fall. I want to get lost in the parts that make you who you are. I'll study each one and recognize it in the stars. You are beautiful just the way you are. You are perfect just the way you are. If I have to, I'll still love you from afar. I'll put a love letter and a message in a jar and hope it gets to you with a wish upon the stars. I want to love you just the way you are. Thank you.
Love her, bro.
Loved it. Love, love, love.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
That's
Thank
right.
you guys.
It was
Absolutely.
a little erotica in there.
A little bit. I
Little
guess
bit.
a little bit. I was a little teaser. It's a little teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. AJ, the mic's on you.
Brother David, did you end up loving the shit out of it?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Yes.
Not yet. Yeah, I honestly forgot who this one was written for.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's it. That's it right there.
Oh,
To be honest, yeah. I don't know. It's been a long year.
Be honest.
It's for the future lover.
There it is. There it is.
Okay, okay. So unique. Are you thinking about publishing a book?
Ooh. AJ, like, you know what? You were like, you're like the second person to ask me that at the Sling Witch event. I had someone ask me that, and I can't say now honestly, but I will say I definitely have plenty of bodies of work, to publish. But with me being so sensitive, I don't know. I don't know if I want someone like. I just think about. I'm such a visual person. I just feel like if I were to publish a book, someone's opening into my mind, my spirit. My heartaches, my great times, my vulnerability is tapped in. And I just feel like this is my sacred space. So I don't know. I mean, that would be great to do maybe one day, but I can't say right now. That's right now.
So remember this: someone read "The Rose That Grew from Concrete" and read this man's vulnerability and his sensitivity and all of that, and this woman was inspired to become a poet because of that book. So you have a responsibility to pass that for someone to read Unique's work in the future and says, man, I read her book and I felt what she felt, and now I know I could do it. So this is part of what we got to do,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you are, and you may have felt like you were a rose that grew from concrete. You know what I mean? As
That's
opposed to
what's
a
up.
garden. Right. So just take that into consideration in the near future.
I will, AJ. Thank you.
Right. All
Would you
right.
read
I've
my
been.
book?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hmm?
I said, would you read my book?
I'll be the first one to get it.
Oh, great.
I'll be the first one to get
Hell
it.
yeah. I've
Appreciate
I've been I've been saying recently. You guys might disagree. Let me know what you think. But a piece isn't a poem until it's shared,
Mm-hmm.
because half of that work of the poem is you gotta. It's meant for someone out there, and so you got to get it to them. It's like selfish if you keep it to yourself.
I like that.
I like that too. I agree and disagree, but I like that. I want to. I want to get there. I want to get there. I want to get
It's
there.
hard. No, it's hard. It's hard.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Especially when I think because I have an attachment to my work, and like especially if there's certain like poems that I wrote that were very like the one I just wrote. I mean that I just shared with you guys. That was really personal for me. R&B and soul was such a like it was such a wonderful ride to write. I feel like all those images were coming into my mind, but sadness came down on me when it ended,
How did
but
you feel when you performed as language?
um I felt I was exposed. I was exposed, and like a lot of things were going through my mind. I was like, I think the one thing that another poet said is that she had said that comparison is the death of, I think, of creativity. I believe she had said, right? I think you said
Mhm.
something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So comparison is like the death to creativity. So I just felt like a lot of times when that I've had the will to try to share my stuff, I just feel like I'm comparing myself. Like, is it gonna really
Yeah,
like,
you can't compare. I feel like every artist
yeah,
is unique. So just from tonight, we're all different. We all
right?
share, different things, different styles. What about you, sir? Like, how did you feel tonight after you shared, your truths? your
I
work?
think for myself, just because I've been really taking into consideration like how I process and how I am trying to heal and forgive certain parts within myself that are triggered on a daily. I feel like through life, through family, through I guess random things that I guess know how to make me tick, but I think I've learned how to control that. I've learned how to understand what it is that I'm feeling. And I think I don't always write just because I think my mind's always at 100. So when I do write, it's because I'm focused and I'm ready to kind of just lay it all out there. And I think the things that I had wrote, my bio, which I had wrote right after that poem, and I was literally working on it for like a good hour and a half or so, and just deleting, adding, fixing. I really wanted, I guess, my first poem of me genuinely just writing my feelings and my thoughts, and somehow translating what my bio represents with my words. So I feel like there is like a connection between the bio that I had wrote that gave me kind of like inspiration for my poem, which made sense. And I feel like to me, I only do my best to do things with full intention. And I think words have hold a lot of value, meaning, and intent when they are with given 100% their all. And I think for me, although like I don't have as much poems that I would like to share, because I feel like what are in my journals are like Unique said, my vulnerability. It's like my darkest sides of myself, because I feel like I mainly would only pick up a pen when I was reaching my lowest. And I think all the times that I've written in my journals were me at my lowest, were me feeling incomplete, were me feeling to the point where I felt I couldn't understand myself. But one thing that did help me understand was I think music is a number one influence with how I feel, with how I think, and the messages, the beats, the sounds. I think it's amazing how we're all born the same, but we create different things. And I think for me, I take a lot of inspiration from the people that I grew up reading. And I think now I have more inspiration by the people I'm around. And I think instead of it being like how I once was when I was 16 reading a book on the bus, now I am around others with similar mindsets and different voices and different opinions and different things that I think bring more interest to my life, that make me question and think really hard about what that means. Because I feel like everything in my life has brought meaning one day or another to the situation or
Yeah,
whatever situation.
yeah, everything has some sort of meaning. But I really enjoyed all of you. I'm so happy that you guys joined us tonight, and you guys are always welcome back to this platform. Don't log off. Stay on to the credits roll. We're gonna have a little brief conversation afterwards. Thank you so much, David Serve Unique.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to host with you,
Thank
AJ
you.
One. Do you have any closing remarks, AJ?
I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure meeting the three of you, and want to see and meet you all in person. You all are in LA. Ain't no
Mhm.
excuse. You can't get away from me now. Now that
Mhm.
now, now that I'm walking out the house and actually going to do things and being social, I'm coming to see you wherever you are. Even
Perfect.
if it's Alta, you still at Alta? I'm
I'm
coming
still
there. I'll
there.
get something for my waves. Right,
I'm
right.
like,
I'll come through. That's what
I'll
I
it's
do
think
the
I
about.
made
best.
myself clear. I live in Central California. I'm up here near Fresno.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay, well, just have them Doritos ready, man. That's it. I'll come up there. I'll
And the
come.
watermelon.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, the
all
water,
day, all
watermelon.
day
Watermelon.
long.
How's all the Fresno watermelons like?
Divine.
Yes.
Divine.
We have to do something big, like a big event to bring the poetry community together in a positive way. But thank
Word.
you, everybody out there, for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you again soon. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much.
All right.